as we get ready for Week 5 Cardinals-Titans from State Farm Stadium. Patrick Peterson joins us on the Arizona Sports Line right now. What's going on, Patrick?
What up, Luke? I'm doing great. And yourself?
Doing good.
What up, Pat P?
What up, Wolf?
You getting ready to actually go hit him?
Actually, today I'm not hitting him today. I gotta pick up some stuff for my daughter. She has a project to do, a little science project. So I'm in the parking lot of Office Depot.
Okay, that's a little bit different, but good.
That's real though. Well, Patrick, let's just start here. We're 4 weeks into the season. The Cardinals are 2-2. There's a lot of different ways to look at how they've gotten here because they're playing 500 football, but the defense through 4 weeks, not that it's been perfect, but man, it seems like it's going to keep them in almost every game this season and give them a chance to win. Is that what you're seeing from this defense? Like, what has stood out to you from that side of the ball?
For sure. You know, like I said last week, those guys, they get after the ball at a high level. You know, they take the ball away at a high level as well. And they don't give up very many points, especially down in crunch time in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? So, I really believe the addition of Calais being there is really freeing up all of the other guys like Sweat on that defensive line. So the defense is going to have to keep them in a lot of games, especially at this point. Like we talked about last week, missing James Conner is going to be a huge missing piece for their offense, and they're going to have to rely on someone else to kind of pick up the load. And we kind of didn't see that Thursday night. But, you know, it's going to be a revolving door. I'm sure they're going to find someone. I'm sure Trey is up for the job. But, yeah, the defense is going to have to continue playing lights out and continue playing at a high level in order for this team to have an opportunity to win.
So, Pat P., what are your thoughts on being 2-2 after 4 weeks, being 2-2 overall with 2 walk-offs for losses? Where does your mind go on that, Pat?
Just making the right plays at the right time. And pretty much setting yourself up, you know, not to be in those positions. You know what I mean? And both of those games kind of got behind the 8 ball and had to climb back into the game. With, you know, if it was turnovers or drive killers with penalties and things like that, you just have to find a way to eliminate those things. And finishing out the game out strong. And I feel like once you're able to, be able to do that at a consistent basis, that's when you'll start seeing the W's tally up a little bit more.
Talking to Patrick Peterson. Patrick, we've talked to you already about Marvin Harrison Jr., but the story, keeps evolving, and he obviously came into the NFL with a lot of hype and a lot of expectations. You know, when you got drafted in the league, you were the number 5 overall pick, so you were coming in with expectations as well. How much of a challenge is that to navigate in the first couple years of your career when everybody expects the world of you?
Man, just like I said last week, he knows who he is. You know, he understands and knows the work that he put into this game to obviously be where he is. The football pedigree in his family, it runs through his blood. You know, so now he just has to go out there and just trust himself, trust the things that he's been doing in the off season, and just make sure that he's that consistent player that the Cardinals drafted him to be. You know, there's no doubt in my mind that Marvin is the guy for the job. You know, and it can be a lot for young guys once they just come into the league. You know, now he just has to understand, how important it is for him to be on top of his game, at a consistent basis for this team to be successful and this offense to be unstoppable.
So, Pat P., this is a cornerback. You are highly talented, more athletic than I'll ever even know what that means question right here, okay? But what's the worst injury you ever played with? What is the worst injury a corner can go out and play with in an NFL game?
Probably, an ankle sprain. I feel like a corner I play with ankle sprains all the time. That's why I had to get surgery on it after the 2015 season. But a hamstring is tough because we have to run.
Okay.
No one can pretty much play with a hamstring except for a quarterback, because unless you're not one of those mobile quarterbacks. You can play with a broken hand or a wrist or something like that.
Right, but I would imagine a groin is really bad, right?
Yes, a groin, adductor. Yeah, a groin is really bad. I never played with a groin pain, but a groin for sure you can't play with a groin injury as a defensive back.
So Will Johnson, this is an uphill battle right now for him because those things can linger, as you know, Pappy.
Yeah, they can, because especially at the defensive back position, like our movements are so unsubtle and reactionary to where we can't protect that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's definitely going to be something that's going to linger on, and hopefully it gets well enough to get them back out on the field soon in the off season. Maybe they can tackle it better with a better solution.
Talking to Patrick Peterson, Cardinals facing Tennessee this weekend. So, Patrick, they're going to be facing a rookie quarterback in Cam Ward. How would you, when you were playing, how would you attack a rookie quarterback like that?
You know, when we was playing, defensive coordinators always wanted to, force the rookie quarterback to beat us. So we never really did anything too exotic. So we played and like really put the ownership on the front four to apply pressure on the quarterback, because the more eyes you have on the quarterback, the better chances you get the better chances you have of picking them off. So we always did things like that. Maybe showed him that we was in man and popped into a zone. But we didn't do anything too exotic as far as pressures, because at the same time, maybe we talked about this a couple of weeks, Wolf, as well, like those fire zones and those zeros and things like that, you have to make sure that you're on the same page, and you never want to give a rookie quarterback an easy read or easy touchdown. So that's what we used to do when I was playing.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, Denzel, Burke, and Kei'Trel Clark getting a lot of reps at corner, of course, in the absence of Will Johnson and some other guys going down. Denzel, Burke, and Kei'Trel Clark, what are you seeing of these guys on tape?
Well, Denzel, he's very feisty. He reminds me a lot of Will. He's a corner that wants to be in your face, very, very hands-on at the line of scrimmage. And Clark, he has good range. He plays the ball very well down the field. So when you have corners that have those attributes, you feel real comfortable, about that, because one, they're not afraid of getting into the receiver faces, and also they're not committing fouls down the field. So when you, like I said, when you have those attributes, man, the sky's the limit for you. All you have to do now is continue to rely on your prep, rely on the play that's being called, and go out there and dominate the game.
Pat, we're 4 games into the season. I mean, 4 games isn't a lot until you realize there's only 17 games in the season, so you only have so big of a sample size to look at. When did you kind of have a good feel for what your team was, or like what you guys had to work with?
Honestly, after the first quarter of the season, I remember Bruce Arians. He always, that was my second head coach, and that was my first time really hearing how he broke down the season as far as in quarters. He always talked about how important the first quarter of the season was to propel you throughout the rest of the 3 quarters of the season. So, I remember a couple of times starting, 3-1, 4-0, but with Coach Coach Wizenhunt, so when you're able to start out the season off, on a good foot, it just puts you ahead of the competition. So all of these quarters are important. So, but it's not a win or break quarter. But if you put yourself in a good position, it really makes you feel good about what you're doing. So as of right now, the Cardinals, they're right there in the middle of the road, 2-2. Now they want to make sure that they win the next quarter. Go 3-1, because you don't want to go 2-2 in the next quarter, because now you're still at 500 at 4-4. So the goal is now to either go 4-0 or 3-1 in this next quarter, and now you'll be sitting, right back where you need to be.
Pat P, thank you, man, for your
best,
time.
man.
Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks,
Okay,
Patrick.
brother.
You too. It's Patrick Peterson joining us right there on the Arizona Sports Line. Not golfing this week.
Yeah.
Being a good dad.
Yeah.
Working on
how
a
about
science
that?
project.
Well done.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.